Today on Sports Central, we go over a college football game preview and prediction on a big matchup coming up here in the SEC in week 2 of this 2021 college football season. And that's going to be between the Missouri Tigers and the Kentucky Wildcats, two teams that are definitely pretty talented teams in the SEC this season. No one's really talking about them, but both teams are pretty talented, and they're kind of in the background of the SEC as well. So obviously they're not national contenders, but it's a big matchup for both these teams coming up here in week 2. So that being said, we'll be going over a full game preview and prediction on this matchup here today, starting out with your team trends. Last week, both teams got wins. Missouri played Central Michigan, which is kind of a close game there. We saw it neck and neck throughout the entire thing, but Missouri got the win in the end by 10, 34-24. As for Kentucky, they dominated Louisiana Monroe as they should have. I mean, ULM is probably one of the worst teams in the FBS. Like last season, they were probably the worst team in the FBS. So Kentucky definitely should have dominated the game as they should. And of course, they beat them 45-10. So both teams off to good starts. 1-0 starts the season. And overall, I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty with both of these teams. And I've said that for a good chunk of this offseason. I mean, you got both teams obviously have talent. I think Missouri and Kentucky both could easily be in bowl games this season. But, I mean, there's a lot of uncertainty based off of the amount of experience on these teams, but also, I mean, the talent as well. I mean, I think both teams are pretty talented, but I mean, of course, you got two teams that definitely could be both teams this season, and that's why this is such an important game, is that, I mean, if both teams are on the gradient of 6 wins, this is going to be a big matchup at the end of the season. So that being said, I mean, it's pretty big implications for both of these teams right here in week 2. But this is going to be on Saturday, September 11th, Lexington, Kentucky. So the Wildcats are the home team, 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. So it is more or less a night game. Wildcats are favored by 5, over-under is 56. ESPN FPI is going with Kentucky 69.1% as well. So once again, Wildcats are favored in this matchup, kind of as expected. I mean, of course, they're the home team as well, so that does help you out just a bit. Series history, Kentucky leads at 7-4. Win streak is Missouri by 1. And in the last 5, though, Kentucky leads at 4-1. So we've seen a lot more success with Kentucky in this series, even though Missouri did win the last matchup here. Here's your stat comparison for this matchup. These are your 2021 current stats. Missouri's got 34 points, 24 points allowed. And these are just your week 1 stats. So obviously we haven't seen a whole lot to base things off statistically yet. But last week we did see 257 pass yards as well out of Missouri. Connor Bazelak played pretty well last week for Missouri. We also still had 211 rush yards for this team, 301 pass yards allowed, and then 174 rush yards allowed. As for Kentucky, 45 points per game, which of course last week they scored 45, 10 points allowed, 419 pass yards. This Kentucky team was outstanding. Levis, he played outstanding for the Wildcats in the passing category, 419 pass yards. That's very impressive. 135 rush yards, and they had 70 pass yards allowed, 17 rush yards allowed. So that obviously shows how bad of a team Louisiana Monroe is. I mean, they only put up 87 yards on Kentucky this past week. Here's some key points for this one. Both teams are 1-0, obviously. Missouri with a close matchup against Central Michigan last week. Quarterback Bazelak and then Beatty, Teller Beatty also looked very good for Missouri this past week. So do watch out for this offense. I mean, Missouri, they've got a pretty good offense this season. Same thing with Kentucky. I mean, there's a couple of promising players on that offense as well. But yeah, Kentucky definitely shows plenty of potential. I think Kentucky's a team that I'm not sure that they'll be a ranked team for a good chunk of the season, but I do think Kentucky's got potential to make it up maybe 6 to 8 wins. I mean, there's definitely potential there for the Wildcats. They do have the home field advantage as well for Kentucky, so that can definitely help at the end of the day. But that being said, let's go ahead and look at my prediction for this matchup. I expect it to be pretty close, and I think we do see Kentucky get the win in the end here, 20-27. So it's going to be a 1-point win for Kentucky. But once again, I could easily see both teams winning this matchup. This is one of those matchups this week where it's basically a coin toss. I mean, I could see both teams winning this game easily. But I'm going to give Kentucky the slight edge. I think I saw a few more positive things out of Kentucky last week than I did out of Missouri. Even though both teams have got pretty talented quarterbacks, it looks like right now. I mean, Kentucky, I'm going to give them the win 28-27. Probability 55% towards Kentucky. So I am going Kentucky, but I'm pretty cautious about it. I think Missouri, once again, is very capable of winning this game. Over-under is 56. I'm taking the under, but if I were you, I would be very cautious as well if you're into betting, if you're going to bet the over-under here, because it could easily go over as much as it could go under. I mean, both offenses show potential, but there's a few uncertainties there. So that's why I'm going to be going with the under. But I definitely think this game could be just as easily the over. So do keep that in mind if you're betting on this matchup. But that wraps it up for today. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below on this game. And I appreciate you guys all watching. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. I'll see you later.